Welcome to another TechHelp video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Today we're going to talk about how to restart Access. If you've got one of those Access databases that just kind of runs and does its own thing on a timer, maybe it's like acts like a server on your network, well, sometimes you got to restart that puppy. We're going to talk about it today. Today's question comes from Brianna in Rockville Center, New York, one of my Platinum members. She says, I have an Access database set up that runs like a server. It sends emails, processes some long action queries, updates my website, and does some other housekeeping chores. I've noticed, however, that after a couple of days, if I don't manually restart the database, I start seeing all kinds of weird behavior. Sometimes it locks up, sometimes it crashes, sometimes I get crazy error messages. What can I do to fix this? Well, Brianna, I had the same situation. I have an Access database that kind of acts like a server like yours does. It sends out emails, it updates information from the website, pulls down orders, all kinds of stuff, and it's constantly running 24/7. And I recognize this behavior too. A couple of years ago, if I let it run for, in my case, 4 or 5 days, it would lock up. I'd have to log in. If I was on the road, I'd have to log in with remote access software and reboot the database. But I found that if I reboot once an hour, that problem goes away. And if all this machine is sitting there is, just sitting on a loop, once an hour, throw a reboot in, it starts itself back up again and everything's fresh. Why does this happen? Well, no software is perfect, and Access has its quirks. There's things like memory leaks that happen. If you declare a variable, for example, and you don't clear it, like an object variable, like a record set or something, Access is supposed to do that kind of stuff behind the scenes, but it doesn't. And, after your loop runs a few thousand times, these little memory leaks, they tend to add up. So it's good to just, clean the slate, right? Think of it like a chalkboard, right? After a while, you can write on it with chalk, and you can use an eraser and erase it, but you still see lots of bits of chalk all over the place. Once in a while, you just got to come in with a wet sponge, like the teacher used to make you do, and just clear the whole thing, right? And so that's what rebooting does. It just clears the slate. Now, before we get started, this is a developer level video. What does that mean? That means we're talking VBA, folks. So if you've never done any VBA programming before, stop now and go watch this guy. This will get you started, teach you everything you need to know in about 20 minutes. And also go watch this video too. This is where I teach you about the timer interval in a form, right? So you can have an event happen every second, every 10 seconds, whatever. We're going to use that for a countdown for our reboot timer. These are both free videos. They're on my website. They're on my YouTube channel. Go watch those. Come on back. All right, so let's talk about how to do this. I've created a folder on my desktop called MyDB. That's going to be my makeshift server folder. All right, this will be wherever your database happens to be. And in here, I got a copy of my TechHelp free template. You've seen this before. I just renamed it MyDB for simplicity's sake, because we're going to need to do something with the file names in just a minute here. Now, the problem that we have is Access can launch other programs. Okay, you can use it to launch, Word documents or PDFs or web browser, whatever, but it can't launch a copy of itself. That's the one issue that we have here. Now, you could make a whole second database that its whole purpose when you start it is to just wait a few seconds and then relaunch the original database. In fact, that's what my Access updater does. I'll talk about that toward the end of the class. But all we really need to do, we don't really need to go through the hassle of making a whole second database. We could just make a little batch file, all right, a little Windows batch file. I'm going to show you how to do it. And it's basically just a command that says, okay, I want you to start my database. So here's what's going to happen. The Access database is going to launch this batch file, right? Close itself, close the database, and then the batch file will restart the database again. It's a real simple process with a couple of tweaks. I'm going to talk about those tweaks in just a minute. So let's create, right-click, new, and then text document. All right, right down here, text document. And I'm going to call this restart DB, and just leave it .text for now. Restart DB.text, that's fine. We're just going to edit it in Notepad. Open that up. All right, here's Notepad. All right, now before we write the batch file, we got to find where Microsoft Access is. All right, we need the full path to msaccess.exe. So, if you're not sure where that is, come down to your Start button, type in Access, ACC. There's Access, the app right there. Right-click on it, and go to Open File Location. All right, now this isn't what we want. This is just a shortcut to it that's sitting on your start menu. But if you right click on that guy and go to properties, all right, that'll bring up this thing, and that target is the full location to where msaccess.exe is. Copy that to your clipboard, Control C. And someone's beaming in. All right, once we got that in the clipboard, you can cancel that. You can close this, come back to your batch file here. You're going to type in start, and then inside of quotes, paste that location in there. That's already got quotes. You don't need two quotes there. Okay? C, program files, Microsoft Office root, Office 16, msaccess.exe. That's the program. And start just tells Windows, DOS, whatever. I'm old. Start just tells it, hey, start this application. Okay? Then we got to give it one more bit of information, and that's the full path and file name to your database. That's this guy. That's why I renamed it just to that. So come up here, get the full path, right? Copy that. Come back over here. And then in here, you're going to go quote path / mydb.accdb. Okay, that's the whole command right there. Start Microsoft Access with this database. Okay, save your text file. Now close it, and we're going to rename this guy to BAT now. BAT, that's a batch file. All right, you want to rename it? Are you sure? Yep. Okay, now if I double click on this guy, it's going to run that guy. That's all this guy does, right? Here we go, double click. And it starts up. I think it's on my other screen. There it is right there. It's launching. There it goes. It takes a second sometimes. And there's the database. All right, it just launched a copy of that database. Let me do it again. It's opening up on my first screen, so I got to drag it up here. And it takes a second sometimes. My laptop's old. I just got a new one, but I haven't hooked it up yet. It takes me at least a good 2 or 3 weeks to get a new laptop set up because I gotta install all my applications, set everything up exactly the way I want it. So I do it every 2 or 3 years, and it's time. Okay, so there we go. Now we got the batch file that opens up the database. Now we got to make the database run the batch file when it's time. All right, so let's open up the database. This is the TechHelp free template. You can grab a copy of this off my website if you want to. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to make this form have a countdown timer on it. And that's just going to simulate the form doing stuff, right? Whatever your server loop happens to be, sending emails or processing stuff on the website or whatever your database does. All right, we're just going to simulate that with a loop. All right, so we'll make this the countdown. So this will be countdown. All right, we're going to take this field that we already have on here. We're going to rename this countdown. I'm going to get rid of the control source, get rid of the format. And now we have to initialize this thing and start the timer loop when the form loads. All right, so go to the form's properties, go to events. We'll start with the form load event. So find form and then load right there on load. ... That'll open up our code builder. Here we go. Let me slide this over here. All right, and in the form load event, I'm going to say, how many seconds do you want? We'll say 5 seconds. Countdown equals 5, right? And then I'm going to say me.timer interval equals 1,000. Remember, these are milliseconds. All right, so every second, the form timer event's going to run. All right, what are we going to do in the form timer event? Well, we're going to count down, and then if the countdown is 0, we're going to issue our restart the database, right? Now, while we're in the forms properties, you can just go right here, drop this down, and find timer. That's the form's timer event. Okay, this is going to run now every second. So I'm going to say countdown equals countdown minus 1, right? And if countdown is less than or equal to 0, it shouldn't get less than 0, but just in case, right? Then do some stuff. What's the stuff in here? Well, let's status, restarting, database, right? That's my little status box. That's this guy right there, right? I covered the status box function in the video where I show you how to build this. It just writes to a text box, okay? Now, we're going to shell out to that batch file that we wrote. Shell is a command built into Access. Yes, there are other commands that are sometimes better, like shell exec and some other ones, but shell is simple, it's easy, it's built into VBA. You don't got to have any dependencies or anything else. All right, just use shell. Trust me, it's easier. You do need to have the full path and name of your batch file, though. So let's go back to that database window right here. Okay, it's going to be this, and then restart db.bat. All right, so back in here. Okay, we're going to paste that in, and then restart db.bat. But this whole thing has to be inside of quotes. Okay, and if you got spaces in this path at all, which you probably do, that has to be inside of double quotes, like that. Okay, because the command itself has to be inside of double quotes, and in order to get two of them in there, you got to put it inside of double quotes. It's a long story. I'll put a link to my double quote video down below if you have no idea what I'm talking about. All right, so that's the command to run that. We want to see what's going on, though, so I'm going to go comma VB normal focus. The default's VB hide. If you don't specify it, actually, I'm sorry, the default is VB minimized focus, so it starts down on the taskbar. But I want to see what's going on. Normal focus makes it in a normal size window. Okay, now this is going to shell out and run that batch file, and as soon as it does that, we want to exit the database. So do command.quit. And then AC save all. That's just for you. That's in case you've got a form open in design mode, you forgot to save it, right? If you don't put save all, it's not going to save your changes. Okay? All right. Save it. Give it a debug compile. All right, everything's good. And now, let's open her up and see what happens. All right, 5, 4, there's the countdown. 3, 2, 1. 0, restarting database. Okay, this launched on my other window. And come on. Okay, there it goes. It launched. See that? That's going to do it again. Okay, shutting down. Sitting there relaunching. And there it goes. See? All right. Couple more enhancements I want to put in here. First of all, if you got a really fast system, which I don't right now, then when it launches that batch file, it might start trying to load the database before the database is closed the first time around. So we'll put a little delay in the batch file. Okay, like a 5-second delay at the batch file. So the batch file starts, it gives access time to shut down in the background, and then it launches the database. Sometimes you have to have that, especially on a really fast machine. Also, we'll talk about how to delay the reboot to like once an hour. You don't want to reboot every 5 seconds, right? I'll show you how to code it in so you can reboot it once every hour. And then like you see here on the start screen, we'll put a little pause in here. Sometimes it's nice, even if it's on your server, you want to be able to pause the countdown loop, right? We'll put that in the code as well. So we'll cover all this tomorrow in part 2. So tune in tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Or if you're a member, you can watch it right now. But that is going to be your Tech Help video for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow for part 2. A special thank you and shout out to our diamond sponsors. First, we have Juan Soto with Access Experts Software Solutions, manufacturing experts specializing in Access and SQL Server. Juan is a 13-time Microsoft Access MVP. You can check them out at accessexperts.com. Another shout out to Sammy Shama from Shama Consultancy. Sammy is a certified Microsoft Office specialist, and he not only offers Access application development, but he also provides one-on-one tutoring services. So if you need someone to hold your hand and help you with your Access project, Sammy is your guy. Check him out at shamaconsultancy.com. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. and you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing, free, 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my Tech Help page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the Tech Help page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut Tech Help videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my Tech Help videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any Tech Help questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for Tech Help questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.